Imagine this. You're aboard a plane, soaring high above the world, surrounded by passengers you've never met, flying towards your destination. The engines hum in a steady rhythm as you look out the window, admiring the clouds below. But suddenly, something unexpected happens. The plane vanishes. No warning, no signal. It simply disappears, as though it never existed at all. This is the story of Flight Aurora 17, a flight that vanished into thin air, leaving behind nothing but questions and fear, a mystery that continues to haunt the world. On the night of July 17, 2023, Flight Aurora 17 took off from New York's JFK Airport, bound for Los Angeles. It was just another routine flight for most passengers, unaware that they were on the verge of being part of an aviation mystery that would baffle experts, governments, and the world at large. The plane was a modern aircraft, built with the latest technology, designed to provide comfort and safety. The crew was experienced, and the flight was scheduled to be just over 5 hours. But at 11:45 p.m., everything changed. Suddenly, the aircraft disappeared from radar. No distress signals, no sudden changes in altitude, just silence. When the plane lost contact with air traffic control, panic spread through the communication towers. Controllers attempted to call the flight repeatedly, but there was no response. They tried to track it on radar, but the signals were gone. At first, it seemed like a glitch. Radar systems can sometimes fail. But as the minutes stretched into hours, the reality set in. Flight Aurora 17 had vanished. An immediate search effort was launched. Helicopters, drones, and search teams scoured the skies and vast stretches of land below, hoping to find some trace of the missing plane. The FAA, the military, and even civilian organizations joined the hunt. But despite their best efforts, nothing was found. The first 24 hours were critical. Searchers focused on the flight's last known position, hoping to locate a wreckage. But still, there was nothing. No debris, no signs of a crash. It was as if the plane had simply ceased to exist. Days turned into weeks, and as time passed, a wave of theories emerged. Could the plane have been hijacked? Was it a mechanical failure that caused the plane to plummet into the ocean or a remote area? Or was there a far more sinister explanation? A theory of intentional disappearance began to take hold. Could it have been an act of terrorism or a deliberate crash? Was there an issue with the flight systems, or perhaps a human error that triggered the sudden disappearance? Rumors swirled. Some suggested that the plane had been hijacked and flown to a remote location, but there was no communication from the hijackers. If a hijacker had taken control, why had they not made any demands or contacted authorities? It didn't make sense. Another theory was that a massive, catastrophic mechanical failure had struck, one so severe that it caused the plane to break apart mid-flight. This too was questioned. With modern technology, such a failure would likely trigger some sort of emergency signal or even an autopilot system to safely bring the plane down. Yet, no such signal came. No one could explain why the plane had vanished without a trace. As the weeks turned into months, the search continued, but the mystery deepened. Satellite images were analyzed, and search teams scoured miles of ocean, hoping to find any piece of wreckage. But there was nothing substantial. And then, just when it seemed like the plane had truly disappeared, a breakthrough came. Pieces of debris were discovered in the remote Pacific Ocean. This discovery was hailed as the first real clue that the flight had indeed crashed. But there was a catch. The debris wasn't from the main body of the plane. It was scattered over a vast area, making it difficult to pinpoint a specific crash site. It seemed like the wreckage had been blown by the wind, drifting far away from where the plane might have initially gone down. This raised more questions. How could this happen? Why wasn't the wreckage in a concentrated area, as is typical after a plane crash? The search teams moved their focus to this new area, combing through hundreds of miles of ocean. But the more they searched, the less they found. No black box, no fuselage, no major parts of the aircraft. there was simply nothing that could lead to an answer. As the investigation stalled, experts from around the world began to offer their own theories. Some pointed to the possibility of a black hole or some unknown atmospheric phenomenon that might have caused the plane to disappear. Others suggested that the plane had been deliberately diverted off course by a covert operation, though evidence to support this was scant. Was it possible that someone had taken control of the plane? Could the aircraft have been part of a secret operation? Some began to wonder if this was a case of government cover-up, an intentional disappearance of the flight for reasons no one would ever understand. The most widely considered theory was that the plane had suffered a catastrophic systems failure. The modern aircraft had redundant systems, meaning that if one system failed, another would take over. But what if there was a flaw in the design, something that no one had predicted? What if the plane's emergency systems were somehow disabled, preventing the crew from sending distress signals or taking action? Eventually, investigators focused on the few pieces of wreckage that had been found. These fragments were carefully examined in laboratories across the globe. The problem, however, was that the parts didn't match the rest of the plane. The wreckage appeared to come from the aircraft, but not from the critical parts: the fuselage, cockpit, or wings. These pieces were smaller, more superficial fragments. Forensic analysis of the wreckage revealed signs of possible mechanical failure, but no definitive answers. There were theories that certain parts of the plane had been deliberately destroyed or removed before the crash, but there was no conclusive evidence to support such claims. The most bizarre discovery came from one of the fragments: small scratches and strange markings on the metal that had never been seen before. Was this evidence of tampering? Or had it simply been damaged during the crash? Investigators couldn't say for sure, but it raised more suspicions. Months turned into years, and despite the ongoing investigation, no answers surfaced. The families of the passengers were left in the dark, their loved ones' fates uncertain. They called for transparency, demanding that the authorities release all information about the flight's disappearance. But the investigation continued to stall. The final report, when it came, offered no clear conclusions. It was filled with ambiguities, leaving everyone, including the families, frustrated and heartbroken. Was this a case of aviation failure? Or something more unsettling, something deliberately hidden from the world? The disappearance of Flight Aurora 17 remains unsolved, and with each passing year, the chances of uncovering the truth grow slimmer. To this day, the mystery of Flight Aurora 17 has left the world with more questions than answers. Was it a simple accident? A freak occurrence no one could have predicted? Or was it something more complicated? Perhaps a deliberate act, a secret operation, or a cover-up? Many theories have been proposed, ranging from the plausible to the outlandish. Some believe the plane was taken into a hidden location, its passengers and crew concealed for reasons no one can comprehend. Others suggest the flight was part of a larger, darker conspiracy, one that reaches far beyond aviation. No matter the theory, one thing remains clear. The vanishing of Flight Aurora 17 is a mystery that will likely never be solved. The world continues to speculate, and as each year passes, more and more pieces of the puzzle fade into obscurity, leaving only a chilling question. What happened to Flight Aurora 17, and will we ever know the truth? The world may never know what truly happened to Flight Aurora 17. Its story may remain one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in aviation history. And as we look to the sky, we are left with the haunting thought: what if the truth is something we're not ready to understand? What do you think about this story? Is it true or fictional? Let me know in the comment, and we will reveal the truth in our next video, so stay tuned. Subscribe this channel and show your support.